Hey, it's Sandra. Welcome to another episode of Asexualized, my asexual life. This is a place to be for education about asexuality, all things asexual. I share my asexual life journey in order to help you and yours. If you haven't already subscribed, please hit the great big subscribe button below right here, right now. Please hit that bell icon so you get notified of every time I go live right now, post a new video. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you find the content useful, insightful in any way, shape, or form, helpful, entertaining, or you just want to give this channel some light love. The thumbs up are really appreciated. In a moment, we're going to talk about give and receive in a relationship. So what value you bringing to a relationship. But first of all, if you didn't know who I am Sandra Bellamy, author of this beautiful book, Asexual Perspectives, 47 Asexual Stories, Love, Life and Sex, a celebration of asexual diversity. I'm also the founder of Asexualise.com, the founder of Asexualise Academy, and the author of this awesome fibromyalgia self-help handbook, How to Manage Fibromyalgia to Have Less Pain, More Energy, and Feel Happier Like a Superhero Rock Star. And the techniques that are used in this book to decrease pain, to improve overall well-being and happiness can be transferable to anyone without fibro as well. The majority of the techniques are suitable for anyone. Obviously, there's lots of foods that you should and shouldn't eat as a fibro person, and a lot of them are the ones that would zap energy if you continue to eat them anyway, and the ones that you do eat basically help to promote a lot more health and well-being. And so this book is just a generally awesome, good autobiographical book. So getting on with tonight's episode, which is all about give and receive in a relationship. Now, I absolutely hate the words give and take in a relationship because I don't feel that anyone in a relationship should be taking. I think that's a really poor word to use. I don't like that word at all. I don't think anyone should be taking something from someone else. Give and receive is a different matter. So if someone's giving, someone needs to be the receiver. And I learned during my personal and professional development journey that some people are bad at receiving, right? They're bad at receiving. But some people love to give, right? And when you love to give, if you've got a bad receiver, what happens? It's like metaphorically speaking, it's like going to a friend, giving them a present, and that person's handing the present back and saying, hey, here you go. Do you know what I mean? Have it back. And that's what it's like. So if someone gives you something, you should receive it with open arms and welcome it, because wherever there's a giver, there's always a receiver. Now, if you like to give to other people, again, you have to be willing to receive yourself, because in order for someone to give to you, you need to be a receiver. And in order for you to give to someone else, they need to be a receiver. If people don't want to receive, it's a bit like slamming the door in your face. Do you see what I mean? So in a relationship, a healthy, really loving, serious, committed relationship, there should be give and receive in the relationship. There should be people giving something to the relationship and people receiving something from the relationship. This is how it should be. So a lot of people, when they're thinking about getting into a relationship, they're thinking, what can that person do for me? How can that other person make me happy in a relationship? And they list all their, well, if they like actually know what they want, they'll list all their wants, their needs in a relationship, and it'll all be about them. It'll be about what they need, what they want, and what their ideal person is and everything like that. Whilst it's really good, like I've said on this channel before, you need to know what type of person you want, because if you don't kind of choose an avatar, like, create on paper your ideal type of person, then you'll end up with rubbish. People will come into your life that are no way suitable because you haven't got a blimming clue what you're interested in, what you're going for, and what type of person you need in a relationship, which is no good. It's like fumbling around in the dark, right? So you do have to have an idea of what you like in a relationship. You have to have an idea of your ideal type of person, right? So on dating sites, you can be saying, I'm looking for this type of person. Like, you need to make sure you've got your deal breakers. So if you know you hate smoking, you can't stand smoking, you're going to want to looking for someone on a dating site or for a relationship elsewhere that doesn't smoke. And you should be putting these things in your profile. I can't be with a smoker. And it's true for me because I can't be with a smoker. I get respiratory infection if I'm with a smoker. I tried kissing a smoker, for what, after one night I got a respiratory infection that lasted for weeks. I don't want that again. So as much as I might really be attracted aesthetically to the person and think they're okay and on themselves, if they smoke, it's just no good for me. It's no good for my personal health. Do you understand what I'm saying? So in a relationship, when you're getting into one, you need to think about your perfect avatar, your ideal type of person. You have to realize that true love is about loving an imperfect person perfectly. What I mean by that is you've got to love their imperfections as though it's the most unique thing about them and it makes them wonderful, the best person for you. Do you see what I mean? So when you really love someone, it's not about them being perfect for you and fulfilling every single little need you've ever got, because it's pretty impossible for any type of person to be able to do that, right? You've got to love all their imperfections as if they were the most perfect person for you that they could be, because no one is perfect, with their imperfection. It's their flaws that you kind of love about them. It helps make them a more better, more suitable person. Maybe it makes them a stronger person, right? So when you get into a relationship, you not just have to think about what you're gonna receive from the person, like what are they going to give you, what are you going to give to a relationship, what value are you going to add to that relationship. It's no good going into a relationship thinking you want it all your own way. Everyone's got, the personal people in the relationship, if you're polyamorous, has got to do this, that, and the other for you. And if you don't get it that way, well, then you're just not interested, because that kind of is a bit selfish, and, you're never going to get the absolute perfect person. What you need to do is get a balance between your ideal type of person who you really would like to be with in your avatar. But if a person comes into your life that matches a lot of that criteria, even though they might not be perfect, if you get on amazingly well and can't see them, forever, can't live your life without them, basically, in a healthy way. I'm not talking about, I can't live without you, I need you, I'm going to die without you. Not that type of unhealthy love. Type of thing, I always want you in my life. I just love you so much. I love everything about you as much as I possibly can, and I love, like maybe there's something about you that you're not quite keen on yourself, but that person just loves it about you, and vice versa, so you've got to think what you're going to bring to the table, so you pick your ideal type of person you want, but what are you going to be for other people or that other person? What is your benefits? What are your benefits for another person? What your not benefits and your benefits, right? Everyone's got things they're good at and not so good at, right? For me, for example, if I get into a relationship with a guy, I'm not interested in doing housework. Cooking and cleaning, all that type of thing is not my thing, right? Which a lot of guys want. They want a woman to be a housewifey type of person. They at least want them to cook and clean for them. That's kind of what they expect. That's not my forte. I hate that. It's going to make me miserable. It's not my thing. Don't like it. Don't want to be doing it for a guy, right? He can bring his own food, wash up after himself, cook and clean for himself. I'm not interested in that. It doesn't interest me. In fact, it makes me really not very happy, right? So I don't want to be in a relationship where someone's doing something or expecting something of me that's not going to make me happy regularly, right? It's not going to, it's not going to happen, right? Obviously, if a guy was really, really sick and he needed me to go and get his shopping because he couldn't really get out, then I'm going to, go and get my shopping trolley and go around to the shops for him, right? There are exceptions to the rule where I will do some things for the guy. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not like the type of person like, you fend for yourself, like, starve or whatever. Do you know what I'm saying? But that isn't my forte, right? So I know that about myself. So I can't give value to a guy in the sense of give something that I'm not happy to give. Because whenever you give in a relationship, you have to give without resentment. You have to be giving something of your time, of yourself, that is making you feel happy to give, right? So my forte, my strength is giving emotional support. I'm very, very good at giving emotional support to a guy. Very, very good. I'm very good at being sensitive to his needs, empathetic, giving him emotional support, supporting him in his career like I expect him and want him to support me in mine, because that is kind of an expectation I do have. Well, it's a need and want that I have, which is, if he says he's going to do that, that is kind of an expectation I have of it. Well, as a standard, do you know what I mean? It's a standard I have. I want him to support me in my career, just like I'll support him. So, so that's really important. And if he's got some mental health issues, some anxiety, that type of thing, I can usually work with that because I'm good with people with mental health difficulties because I've had my own in the past. It depends what they were. If they're workable, they're manageable. If the person wants to improve themselves and is trying to help themselves and improve themselves, and I can work with that. So I'm good at understanding, for example, guys with autism. Like I can usually, understand guys with autism on a deep emotional level, which is very hard to do. A lot of people, guys with autism, they can't connect to people. They've got a disconnect. They don't feel that emotional connection usually. But for me, it's different. I don't know why. I didn't even realize that was a problem they had until I learnt more about autism. I usually, can connect deeply and have a special bond with someone with autism. So a guy with autism, some of his traits as well really suits me. So the fact that he's into lots of projects and all that type of thing. So my strength lies in those type of things, career support, emotional support, mental health, positivity, and acceptance, stuff like that. So I have those strengths. Those are things that I can give to a relationship, but I don't want kids. I don't want marriage. Don't want sex. Don't really want to live with a guy either, So there's things about me that a guy probably think, oh, that's not for me. And there's things that I, would be good on. I don't go by society's norms. I tell the truth. The blunt truth sometimes, I'm very, very open and honest. They're going to get complete transparency, honesty with me, which some people aren't being their true authentic self. So again, that's a value I can bring to the table in a relationship, So, I've told you before on this channel about what my ideal type of guy is. My ideal type of guy is Indian, the certain look I like, what job I'd ideally like to have. But, it's not got to be written in stone that that's the person I get. If I met this most amazing person that fulfilled a lot of the criteria that I was looking for, and he wasn't Indian, for example, then I probably highly likely still want to be in a relationship with him. If he was Indian, but maybe there was a couple of things that wasn't quite right, then it depends. If they weren't deal breakers, and I could accept them, and I thought the person had other good qualities, then that would be good also. Like the guy that like I like thin guys, short dark hair, clean shaven. But I mean, if he had a bit of weight on him, for example, it's not going to be the end of the world. Do you know what I mean? Maybe he have a little sort of bit of stubble there or something. It's not going to be the end of the world, is it? Do you know what I'm saying? It's not like it's going to be like a deal breaker, right? But smoking is. So it's very important that you decide what your value is that you're bringing to that relationship. What is it that you're going to give to that person willingly, wantingly, and that you're going to enjoy giving? There's absolutely no point in giving unless you want to, because it will build up a resentment, And in relationships, people can lose themselves. They can give too much and they completely lose themselves because they're so giving to the other person that they just give, and the person, instead of receiving, takes. Do you know what I mean? So it's important to get a balance between what your ideal type of person is in a relationship and what you want to receive and what you're willing to give. But you should never get into a relationship thinking you just want to receive all the time and not give anything to that relationship. That you're so wonderful that someone owes you something and that you deserve this, that, and the other without actually giving anything back, without actually putting any work into the relationship, without making it work. Relationships take energy, they take time, they take work, they take effort. It's like another full-time job getting into a relationship. Yeah, and some things will feel so comfortable and it'll be great and it'll feel wonderful, but other things will be harder. You'll be like, how do I navigate this situation with this person? How do we work out the best scenario for both of us? How can we make this happen? But if you really love and care about each other and overall you're really good for each other and the best, people for each other, then you will work it out, You will work it out, but before you get into a relationship, not only do I want you to think of your ideal type of person, I want you to also think about what you're going to give to that person in a relationship. What are your strengths in a relationship? What are you not so good at and what are you really, really good at in a relationship? You know, like maybe the opposite of me. Maybe like housework's your thing. You like cooking, you like cleaning, you like tidying up, you just like faffing, you know, like fussing around, I think it's called, doing that type of thing. You like to be a homebody, whereas your other half, they like to go out more, and they kind of like not into you know, they're kind of not into the whole cooking scene, but maybe you really enjoy that and it's something that feels really good to you. So that could work out well in that respect. Maybe you're an introvert, but you have some extrovert tendencies, and maybe the person's extrovert with some introverted tendencies, in which case you can kind of meet in the middle. Like you might like going out sometimes because you're an introvert with some extrovert tendencies, whereas the person that's extrovert with some introverted tendencies might tend to prefer to stay in sometimes. So that could balance each other out. So you do really have to really think closely, like write down, you know, what is your strengths in a relationship, what are you good at, what are you going to bring to the table, what value are you going to add to that person's life, and then what would you like to receive, and what would you be willing to compromise on or not compromise on, you know? Like I said, if I meet an Indian guy who happens to have a little bit of weight on him, even though I prefer skinny guys, you know, it's not going to be the end of the world, because, you know, guys too, well, anyone can put on weight throughout their life, do you know what I mean? The personality is the most important thing. And I usually get attracted to a guy's face. So obviously, if he puts some weight on, he might have a fatter face, but really, I'll probably still find him aesthetically beautiful anyway, because his face will just be that way. Do you know what I mean? So there's, you know, like, and you know, I think my guy's into IT and web design, but maybe he's not. Maybe he's into administration. You know, maybe he likes doing admin. You know, it doesn't. You know, these type of things are not deal breakers. It's not essential that he's into website design and IT. It's just the thing that I think he is, you know, intuitively, but it doesn't have to be that way. Could be an accountant, you know, could be a car mechanic. I don't know. Do you know what I'm saying? It's not really, you know, it's not really, so long as he's supportive of my entrepreneurial journey and my asexuality, that's the main thing to me, you know, and my career, you know. So it's, you know, and I liked him to have projects and things he's interested in that I think are good, so that, you know, I can chat to him about them, see how he's getting on, like support each other, and I think that's really important. So what I want you to do is make sure before you go on to asexual dating sites, or if you're on them already, really work out, you know, in your bio, write down what type of things that you were looking for in a relationship, but also say some of your strengths, you know, that can really help. You know, you can say what you're good at and things like that, you know, it could really help you. But make sure, you know, whenever you're looking at dating relationships, make sure you know before you even, you know, sort of enter that type of thinking about getting into a relationship, you're thinking about what you're going to bring to the table. You shouldn't just be taking like, I want this that way, I want that way, and want everything my own way. Because you may as well just stay single then if you want everything your own way, because you're not going to have everything your own way if there's two people involved. It doesn't work like that. Do you know what I mean? Because otherwise you'd be single. And for some people, the single life is better, and it's where they should be at, and it's what's good for them, even if it's now or forever or just for a short time, you know? So please, 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 before you get into a relationship, think about giving and receiving. And like I said as well, it's so important to receive. If someone gives something to you, don't start saying, oh, you know, like basically shoving it back in their face and saying, oh, you know, like, oh, I don't want that. You know, you should be receiving with open arms, because wherever there's a giver, there's a receiver. So you should be giving to your partner, and they should be willing to receive, and they should be given to you, and you should be willing to receive, because that's how giving and receiving works. That's why I don't like the giving and the taking. There shouldn't be giving and taking a relationship. There should be giving and receiving. Because if you're giving and receiving, you're enjoying giving something to someone, and the person's enjoying receiving it. They should be welcomed with open arms. Now, maybe in the past, and your trauma, you know, maybe you've had some trauma in your life, a traumatic childhood, some traumatic situation. Maybe there was a time that, you know, you weren't used to someone giving you something and you receiving. You had to always like give back something else, you know. It's kind of a blackmail situation, in which case that's not very good, and you might have a problem with being a receiver. But you have to understand that not every person is like the person in your past. Obviously there are some people who are not good out there, but you know, err on the side of caution to begin with if it's a new person coming into your life. But you know, you should be able to find out through time if that person's good at giving, or if they, it's no good them giving if they expect to receive something from you that you're not prepared to do. You don't want to be in a situation, for example, with a heterosexual and you're asexual and they're trying to give you something, and they're expecting sexual favors in return. That's not the type of giving and receiving. That's giving and taking something you don't want to do from you. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's not good. So you don't want to be getting involved in anything like that. If you're at all thinking that's the way it's going, then you don't want to be doing that, because that isn't an equal relationship. It's not a loving relationship. We're looking here to get a loving and committed relationship, and a loving, committed relationship is all about, accepting that you're going to be with someone who's not 100% perfect. You're not perfect. They're not perfect. You can't possibly live up to all that person's expectation of every single minute thing they want in a relationship, right? And you've got to think, that they can stay or leave you with. They can stay with you or leave you. It's up to them. Everything's an individual choice, just like you have a choice. They have a choice where they stay with you or not. So you've got to be bringing something to the table. You've got to be contributing something to the relationship. Do you get where I'm coming from? So, like I said, you're never going to get the perfect person. True love is about looking at someone who you're with and thinking, there's no one I'd rather be with in a relationship. Maybe you're not perfect. I'm not perfect. But do you know something? Your imperfections are ones that I can live with, be with, stand the test of time with. I can accept, because I know I've got my own limitations, my own imperfections. And, they're not like deal breakers. They're not something that really break the relationship or I hate or resent you for. They're something that I can think, well, no one's perfect, maybe you have like a weird way of doing something. Maybe you get a bit over anxious sometimes about certain things, and you worry about it. So you need a partner that's going to put your mind at rest a lot. Maybe you need more communication than some others do in a relationship, and for that, your partner's like willing to communicate with you more. They're happy to do that, An over anxious personality usually means that the other person's got to keep in contact with you more. You'll want more contact, because otherwise you'll wonder what's going on. And it's okay for some people do have anxious personalities. I do quite a bit, actually. I do like a lot of contact. That's just the way I am. So some people have underactive, like under anxious personalities, where they're like kind of avoidant. They're called avoidant personalities, but they kind of want to avoid things, so they don't want to engage in conversation. If they've got a problem, they'll avoid the situation. And then you've got other ones that are kind of anxious with problems there, and they're anxious to solve the problem. They want to get on with it. They don't want to not hear from you. They don't want silence, So you've got to understand what person you are dealing with in a potential relationship. You've got to understand what type of person you are. You have to understand in every relationship, there's two people. What are they bringing to the table? What are you bringing to the table? What are you giving? What are you receiving? Right? Give and receive. You shouldn't be taking. Oh, hi, Sam. Nice to see you. I've already talked a lot in this video, but I was basically saying, actually, me and you were talking quite a bit the other day, weren't we, about there should be give and receive, I like to say, because I don't like to say give and take. I think in a relationship, give and take's the take word's a really bad word to use. Because obviously no one really should be taking anything from anyone. But give and receive, wherever there's a giver, there should always be a receiver. Otherwise it's like slamming the door in someone's face when they give you something. Do you know what I mean? So I was saying, in order to have a relationship, a loving, healthy, happy, committed relationship, you should be in a situation where you love that person's imperfections as part of them. So you think they're perfectly imperfect for you. Yes. Take is a more negative word than receive. Yeah. So that's what I like to say, give and receive. Because wherever there's give in a relationship, there should also be a receiver who welcomes the gift of giving with open arms. Because otherwise, like I said, it's like slamming a door in your face. It's like pushing your gift back. Oh, hi, my life. Nice to see you. How are you doing? Haven't seen you for a while. I saw my best friend Sam today, who's in chat, by the way. We had an awesome time. So it's really important to have both. And what I do get concerned about is, I was saying in this video that I might be. Oh, right. Okay. You don't know if you're sick and you hope it's just the flu. I do my life because obviously, when I'm filming this now, yeah, there's a coronavirus, isn't there? So I hope you just got the flu and nothing else. Um, yeah, me and Sam that's in chat, we had an awesome day. And I do like our friendship. It's the best friendship ever as well because we both get on so well. It's really good. My life. My mum is going to check my temperature again. If it's high, I'm going to the hospital. Oh my gosh, yeah, my life. If it's hot, yeah, you know, if you've got a fever or something, you're gonna have to go to the hospital, aren't you? I hope it's just flu. I hope it's just flu. Just remember positivity. Positivity. You have to stay positive, whatever type of problem you've got. Like, even if someone's got a virus, I know it's very difficult, but you have to stay positive. Because if you go negative, it's easier for viruses to attack the immune system if you're in a negative state of mind. Your stomach doesn't feel good. Ooh. I know a lot of the viruses to do with problems with the lungs and bronchial area, isn't it? So, oh, I love you. Lots of love, my life. I hope you get better soon. Thank you for letting us know. I hope you get better soon. I hope it's just like a case of flu and it'll get better. You know, all you have to do is keep singing, this time will pass. It's temporary. This time will pass. I will be okay. I will be okay. And just keep saying that to yourself all the time. I'm okay. The time will pass. Time will pass. I'll be okay. I'll be okay. I'll be okay. So I've had like 3 respiratory infections like in the last few months. And that's what I keep thinking. The last one wasn't as bad as the 2 before, actually. So it's getting like milder. But you know, because obviously fibromyalgia is an autoimmune condition, so it does lower your immune system. So you just have to think, like when I'm going through that, I have to think, you know, it's temporary. I'm gonna go. I'll update you when you can. Okay, my life. Lots of love to you. I know you got to go. All the best. Lots of love. Really hope you get better soon. Lots of love. Get well soon, and just keep staying positive. Keep saying, I'm gonna get better. I'm gonna get better. I'm gonna get better. I'm gonna get better. And make sure you eat broccoli, spinach. They're really good for boosting the immune system. So it's good. Yeah. So yeah. So hopefully my life will get better soon. Wish them well. So yeah, Sam. Yeah, well, it was absolutely awesome to see Sam today. So me and Sam have a very good friendship. It's really good. And I was saying, like, in a relationship, you know, it's all about not getting your own way over everything. It's not like you're never gonna like. I know Sam agrees with me on this. You know, you're never ever in your life gonna get the perfect person turn up in your life and have every single little thing you want in your life. It's never gonna happen because in any relationship, 2 people are in a relationship or more if you're polyamorous, and you'll never be exactly perfect for each other because you're 2 different separate human beings, you know. So if you go into a relationship thinking that person's gonna be everything that you want and do every single little thing that you like and everything's gonna be perfect, it's really not. Do you know what I mean? But I was saying that you need to work out what your deal breakers are, things you couldn't stand in a relationship. For me, it's being with a smoker is one of them. Obviously, having kids as well. It's just out of the question for me, you know. But if, for example, I've said on this channel that I would love to be with an Indian guy, for example. I like skinny guys with short, dark hair, clean shaven. And I think the guy's going to be into IT or website. I was saying that, you know, he might not be a skinny guy. He might have some weight on him, right? But I'll still probably like him because I go by the face, the aesthetic face. And whether he's a skinny face or a bigger face, I'm probably still going to be aesthetically attracted to him. Still want to be in a relationship with him. He's got a nice personality. You know, it's like, you know, maybe he won't be complete. I like clean shaven is my favorite, but maybe he might have a little bit of stubble there or something. I'm not going to like go, oh, you're really great in every other way, but you've got this tiny bit of stubble, so I'm not going to be with you. Do you know what I mean? And maybe he doesn't do IT or website design. Maybe he does accountancy or admin job or something like that. So I was saying that, you know, like, you know, just because you have, like, you should write down your ideal avatar, the look of the person, the personality, you know, maybe what job you'd like them to have, your ideal type of person, because you don't want to be getting any willy-nilly person that just comes into your life thinking, oh, maybe, you know, like they're completely you know, like they're nothing like what you want. Because if you don't write in your bio, for example, on asexual dating sites, then you know what you're looking for, then you could end up be open to the world, and you don't want that. But similarly, you want to make sure that you've got an idea of what you can bring to the table. That's what I was saying in the video, that in this video, that it's important you know what you can give to the relationship, not just the other person. Like, what do you want from that other person, but what do you want to give to a relationship as well? Because so many people, when they get into a relationship, they just think about the other person and what they can get from the other person if they got all their needs met. And then that isn't going to be a good, healthy, happy relationship. You've got to remember that that person has the equal right to leave you and walk away from you at any single point in their life, just like you do. Therefore, if you're not making them happy, if you're just expecting them to do this, that, and the other all the time, they'll just think, well, you don't love me for who I am. You're always wanting this, that, and the other that I can't give you. And so they'll feel inadequate and leave the relationship. And so it's really important that you work out what you want to give to the person and what you want to receive. It's like I was saying, that my strengths, for example, are not housework. You know, I don't want to do cooking or cleaning for a guy, but my strengths lie in emotional support, career support. Like, I would want a guy who supported me in my career too, like with projects and stuff like that. And mental health, I'm very good if a guy's got mental health. It depends what mental health situation it is, but overall I'm good. And guys with autism I tend to be good with. I tend to have a special bond with as well. So and I can emotionally connect with autistic guys, which is quite difficult usually, apparently, which I didn't know. So Sam, yes, relationships are about both, or all partners. Each should put in the effort and know their strengths. Exactly. They should know their strengths, and they should also know their weaknesses as well. Like, I mean, obviously I don't like doing housework, cooking and cleaning, which some guys won't like. That'll be something that they'll detest. They'll be like, oh God, I want a woman who's, you know, who's looking after me, like with cooking and cleaning the housework. That'll be something that's a deal breaker for quite a few guys. But it's just not my bag. I don't like doing it, and it would make me resentful. You know, they do say, like, oh, you should do, like, love doing anything for your partner, but I actually think that's not completely true. You know, it's like, if I do housework, I hate housework. Doing it for myself is a chore that I don't particularly want to do, but I have to, right? The minimal amount that I can get away with doing. But if I had a partner to do that for him, I would resent it, because it's something that makes me very miserable. And so I don't want to be with a partner like, in like, oh, so I was with a partner for the rest of my life, which was however many 60 odd plus years or whatever, and you know, and then think I'm going to be doing that all the time for them, because it's too much on me. I don't, you know, like, I mean, I have fibro anyway, and stood at a sink is not exactly the most painless thing to do. So I got better things to be doing my time that make me a lot happier, you know. I can't be doing with that. So, you know, I'm not interested in it. If a guy wants to cook and clean his own things and bring food around my place, that's it, you know, that's up to him. Sam, yes, everyone has strengths and weaknesses. There are always going to be things people are uncomfortable with and should look for a compatible partner. Best done by being honest about themselves and what they're looking for in someone else. Yeah. Exactly, Sam. I do think people don't actually think about developing themselves to be in a relationship as well. I think that's something that's vastly neglected in a lot of people. They're not very consciously aware that they need to develop and grow themselves as a person. So, for example, I know with you, you're always trying to improve yourself. You know, with me, I'm always trying to improve myself. So as friends, we'll always appreciate that we're trying to improve ourselves as human beings and as people, and becoming better people in and of our own right. Even as a friend, we will appreciate that, and it will help the friendship, right? And it's similarly in a relationship. If you've got someone who's developing and growing themselves, but the other person is just saying, I'm like this, I'm not like developing and growing myself in any way, you know, shape or form, I'm just staying as I am, that's it, and I'm brilliant or whatever, and like, you know, like, I want this, that, and the other my own way, and take it or leave it, then that's not going to be a very good relationship. So some people, they don't believe they have to do anything in a relationship. It's like, I'm the best already. But no one's the best already. In a relationship, it takes work, time, energy, and effort. And you have to be willing to develop and grow yourself. The best types of relationships are the ones where both people are working on themselves individually, improving their situation, improving their life, improving their health, improving their mental state, improving their self in general, and where they want to grow in the relationship and improve the relationship together as well, simultaneously. The the relationships that aren't good are where both parties think that both of them are right. They don't do anything wrong, and you know, there's nothing they need to change about themselves, and you know, they should just accept everything about them without the person wanting to grow and develop themselves. Do you see what I mean? And so that tends to end up being an unhealthy relationship, especially if you've got someone. So, for example, I'm into developing, growing myself, like I know you are. And if you end up with a partner who doesn't want to do anything, they're just sat watching TV all day, and they're not developing and growing themselves as a person, their life is pretty stagnant in that way. The person that's developing and growing themselves won't be able to receive much from new stuff from that person, won't be able to like grow in the relationship with the person when the person's not growing themselves. They won't even think about growing the relationship. They won't try and progress the relationship. They won't try and. So when I mean growth in a relationship, it's like you should have shared goals, shared ambitions, shared dreams. You should be working, as well as your own separate things. You should also be saying what's our goals. You know, like where do we want to see our relationship being the next year, the next 5 years? Do you know what I mean? Why do we want to travel the world together? Do we want to go to this holiday? Do we want kids together? Obviously I don't. Do we want to get married? Do we want to live together? Do we want to live nearer each other if we're doing long distance? You know, when's that going to happen? You know, and they should be, you know, thinking about stages in a relationship. Like maybe you're dating and then moving on to the actual relationship stage, and then seeing each other a little bit, then seeing each other more and more, and that type of thing, then introducing to each other's family and friends and all that type of boyfriend girlfriend stuff. Do you know what I mean? It has to be like a progress and development, but also like once you're together, if you're just together and you're not growing and developing as individuals or in a relationship, it kind of like can stagnate. It's really important to say in a relationship what you're happy with, what you're not so happy with, or what you can both improve on together. You know, what's feeling good to you, what you need more of, that type of thing. Because I was saying there's different types of personalities. One can be an avoidant personality, and one can be an anxious personality. Someone who's got an anxious personality will need a lot more communication and contact than someone who's got an avoidant personality. Avoidant personality, when there's problems in the relationship, they're not feeling good, they will avoid the situation, avoid talking to the person, and maybe withdraw into their shell and like cut communication for a bit. An anxious personality is the opposite. That well, they really need to know the answer. They want, you know, I've got an anxious personality. They really need to know the answer. They need to know more communicate, you know, much more communication. They need to be like dealing with the problem as quickly as possible, you know. So if you've got two people, different personalities, one avoidant and one anxious, that's not going to work in harmony. It's going to be a very difficult relationship, you know. You know, the avoidant person's got to learn to be less avoidant. The anxious person's got to learn to kind of calm down their anxiety a bit, you know. So the anxious person might have to say to the avoidant person, the avoidant person's not going to have to cut communication, but the avoidant person might be like, I need some time on my own for X amount of hours. And the anxious person's going to be, that's okay, even though they're really anxious, but they'll need to know a time when the avoidant person's going to be back in communication with them. So maybe the avoidant person's like, I need 3 hours on my own, I'll contact you at such and such a time. But they must then follow through and do that to build and create trust and maintain the trust, you know? So that's, you know, like, as do I. Yeah, exactly. Sam, they need to, everyone has strengths and weaknesses. So always going to be things people are uncomfortable with, you said, and should look for a compatible partner. Best done by being honest about themselves and what they're looking for in someone else. And you said as to you, meaning developing, growing yourself, I think, isn't it? You know, it's very, 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 very important. Oh yeah, you said as do I, as in an anxious personality. Yeah, me and you both have that. Oh yeah. That's why we get on so well as well, I think, because I think when you have anxious personalities, I think like it depends what type of other personality traits you have in a relationship. But if you have anxiety traits and you're both the anxious type of people that need communication and to just get everything out and done and finished and as soon as possible, yeah. But yeah, I believe in always learning, growing. Yeah, it's good. You know, but I don't, you know, like if you've got someone who's got avoidant personality with an anxious person, that's quite a difficult relationship because they both have different needs. The avoidant personality needs to have some space on their own and time to think and kind of like take time out. The anxious personality needs more communication and sort it out quite quickly. So it's very important that people understand themselves as much as possible, and that's all about developing and growing yourself. If you're a person that just sits at home watching TV all the time, playing video games, your life is pretty stagnant. You're not really developing and growing yourself. You're not consciously aware of yourself. You probably don't even know your weaknesses or your strengths. You probably don't even know whether you got an anxious or avoidant personality. People who are very aware of themselves, developing and growing, they understand that they're not perfect, that these are weaknesses or strengths, or these are things that need to be addressed in a relationship. So I know, because I've got an anxious personality, that I need to be with a guy who is going to be able to be with me in a relationship and give me a lot of communication, because that is something I really, really need. It's no good me being with a guy who I don't hear from for 3 or 4 days. It's just going to be not very good for me. It's not going to be healthy for my mind, my spirit, my soul. It's good. But obviously I've got to learn that I can't necessarily get an answer straight away. So for example, if the guy's working and I'm worried about something, I can't expect him to drop all his work just because I'm anxious. Do you know what I mean? So that type of thing has to be worked out, But all these things are about reflecting on yourself, reflecting about your weaknesses, your strengths, and what you're going to do for the relationship. So not just about what the person's going to do for you, but what you can give to the relationship that you're happy about, because giving is about being happy to give. Don't ever give something where you don't want to, you resent it, you feel bad, it's not really what you want to do. Like I said as well, with sexuals in particular, if you're an asexual who's thinking about getting into a relationship with a sexual, don't give stuff to them. So don't allow them to give you stuff and expect to receive sexual favors for it. This is not the type of give and receive I mean. A give and receive is stuff that you want to give and stuff that you're happy to receive. But at the same time, you don't want to be a type of person that's not used to receiving anything, so you feel bad about receiving. If someone gives you something, like I know Sam, my best friend, they bought me lunch today, right? And a nice cup of berry tea as well with a drink with my lunch, and that was really, really nice. And some people could find that hard to receive that type of thing from a friend. And years ago I might have been more the type of person that got a bit worried about stuff like that, but now I'm not, because I did a course years ago, and it was all about part of the course was about receiving, and it said wherever there's a giver there's a receiver, and if you love giving to people, there's going to be someone who's equally wants to give to you, and for you to be happy receiving it. As long as you're grateful and thankful, it's much better to say, I really appreciate this, I really love it, and show your happiness and gratitude. The last thing you want to do is start getting oh, I don't know, blah blah blah, because then that kind of like deflates the giver. It kind of makes them feel like, oh, you're not really happy that I've given this then. Do you know what I mean? So you've got to make sure that you receive well as well, and you think, oh, that's really lovely of you, thank you so much for that. And I know in the past that can be to do with a lot of like trauma, if you're used to like people only giving you things when they want something from you. You can have some hang-ups about that, which is understandable, but you have to like understand. And other things, the other thing is you can feel unworthy. You can feel like, oh, I don't want to receive anything because I'm unworthy, I don't deserve it, and I don't feel I'm good enough. And that's a lot of the problem with receiving, that you feel like you're not worth it, you're inadequate, you're not good enough, and so you shouldn't be receiving anything. It's a bad thing to do, which it isn't, because like I said, if you love giving, right, I mean, when I have the money, I like, for example, presents. Like with my parents, I usually buy them a lot of presents for their birthday and Christmas, because I kind of thought the older I get in birth certificate age, I want to give them more presents, because it's not done. Usually when a child gets older, they give less presents to their parents. That's a done thing. That's kind of like what society leads you to believe. So when years ago I decided I wanted to do the opposite of that and give them more presents as I got older, not continually more, because I can't afford continuing more, but more than I used to do when I was a kid. I wanted to give them more later on, because I thought I like to do things backwards, I like to do things different, and I like giving. Do you know what I mean? So that's what I used to, like I do still like at Christmas, when I was giving them gifts, I do like doing that, but I do like receiving gifts as well. I love receiving gifts. It's a big thing for me. I'm not a type of person who gets into a relationship and says, oh, it's all right, don't give me a birthday present or a Christmas present. I'm like, no, I really do think you should give me, I really, one of the things I think you should do in a relationship is give me a birthday or Christmas present, even if it's a little something, because I kind of don't think you should be in, this is my personal opinion. I know it might sound a bit weird because it might sound materialistic, but I don't want my boyfriend to not give me a Valentine's present or card, not give me a Christmas gift or card, or not give me a birthday gift or card. I think, they should celebrate my life with me. Do you know what I mean? And I'm romantic like that. I don't want to get with a guy who wouldn't be romantic in that way and stuff. Like you can buy a bunch of flowers for £1. If a guy can't buy me a flowers for £1 when he can spend like 40-50 quid on a pair of trainers, then something's a bit wrong, isn't it, in my opinion? Do you know what I mean? So that's the way I am. I like to receive gifts and stuff, so I do have that side where I do want to have that. I like little gifts as well. My ex used to be little gifts. I like that. In a relationship, I think it keeps a kind of romance alive. Sometimes it doesn't cost much. It's just like a little chocolate bar or something like that. Obviously, with me, I've got loads of food allergies. Like I said, a £1 bunch of flowers, it's not like the end of the world, is it? Do you know? It's just a little token gesture and it's really nice. And so, there's those type of things, But, like in a relationship, like I said, you're never going to find the perfect person. Like I said on a previous video, one of my friends years ago, she met this guy who was Indian. She didn't want an Indian guy. She lives in the UK. She didn't want an Indian guy. That's not, she wasn't thinking about an Indian guy because she lives in the UK. I think she was thinking about a British guy, but she definitely told me she wasn't thinking about an Indian guy. But this Indian guy matched all her other criteria, all of it. He was a bit older, but it didn't matter because he looked younger. So do you know what I mean? Like, and she said he's so good for my kids because she's a single mum, and he's really good at looking at, like doing cooking for us, and he's really good. I mean, she loved sex, so he was very good at sex for her. Some women do. Just because they're women doesn't mean to say they don't love sex. She was a woman with a high sexual appetite, a very high sexual appetite. So, he was really good in that respect. So there was loads of good qualities, and she's like, basically she was really happy with him. So what I'm saying is, obviously I have an idea of my type of guy I want, but it doesn't matter if I don't get exactly the ideal perfect guy I'm interested in, because no one's perfect. You know what I mean? And you can take someone who's in your life and think, they've got everything I want. They're not exactly what I would think about completely aesthetically, or maybe they haven't got the exact job that I'd ideally want them to have, but it doesn't matter because I love them for who they are, for their quirks, for their personality. I think it's the most important thing, for the fact that you just love spending so much time with them. You always want them in your life. You want to share your whole life and world with them. Nothing's more important to you really than that particular person. Obviously, you have other friends, but you just like know that they're the best person to be in a relationship with them because they match as many of your criteria and needs as you could possibly get, really, and you just adore them. Do you know what I mean? That's like true love. True love's not like taking a person and try and make them into something they're not. It's about seeing the imperfections of a person and loving them as a perfect being for you as much as they can be, with their imperfections, with the fact they're not exactly this way or exactly that way. I mean, for all I know, I might meet a British guy with short dark hair, clean shaven. He's not Indian. Do you know what I mean? He might build websites. So you never know. And sometimes, like, I've heard quite a few times that, sometimes, like with dating coaches, they're saying sometimes you can end up with a person who you wouldn't actually have imagined yourself with. But because they have all the traits, well, the majority of the traits you're looking for, and because there's just something about them that you love so much and you just can't see your life without them, and you just love them for who they are, So that can end up happening, It can be someone like unexpected, So I think it's best to like create your ideal person avatar, put what deal breakers and then what's not such a deal breaker, in terms of looks, and what's not a deal breaker in terms of like, like jobs or career or goals. Like for me personally, I couldn't be with someone who wants to go traveling the world because I'm not interested in traveling. I know it sounds really weird, but I'm not interested in traveling. It doesn't do anything for me. Like, I don't mind traveling in the UK, but I'm not interested. And Disney and Paris, but that's about it. I don't need to go abroad. I don't have this urge or need or want to go abroad. I just think everything I've got is in the UK, apart from I do love Disney and Paris, but I can get there by Eurostar usually. So you know what I mean? I don't really need like everyone else does. So like some people, specifically for example on asexual dating sites, they're like, oh, I want a travel buddy, someone I can go traveling with. I love traveling for a year. You know, I met a guy who was, I think, yeah, Indian in the UK, but he had a place in Spain. And he said, I want someone to move to Spain with me in a few months. Well, I ain't been moving to Spain. Do you know what I mean? I'm not interested in that. He was an older Indian guy as well. He's too old for me, really. In what he liked, his hobbies and interests. So yeah, it's just, you know, it's just like thinking like, what's the person, you know, like maybe you haven't met that person yet, because you know they might not have come into your life yet, you know. They might be still like in your future. There might be some work you have to do on yourself. Personally, I think for me, I've got to get my career sorted before I'm going to meet the right person, because I'll then be at more of their level. I think, you know, I think I'll meet someone in the future through my work probably, but I have yet to fulfill my whole work purpose. So when I'm more to that stage, I think then I'll meet the right person, but not at the moment. You know, I've given up on actively pursuing a relationship at the moment. But I have to say, me and Sam, right, because we met up today, I did see the guy in my local Nando's. One of the guys that would dance with me in the nightclub last time, he works in the local Nando's, and he was in there today. And yeah, it was very difficult for me because I'm hyper romantic, and I was very hyper romantic over him. Like I really fancied I wanted to kiss him quite a lot. He was actually the Indian guy that's like 19 as far as I know. Been in this country 8 months. He was the one that kissed me at the end of the club, but then said about going home to my place, and I'm like, no, I don't have sex, thanks. But yeah, so yeah, he was there in Nando's I mean, we were in there for like probably 3 hours, I think we were in there for, and he was in there like a lot of the time, and like yeah, was it 3 hours or maybe 2 hours we were in there for, something like that. But it was a long time, and yeah, I kept wanting to kiss him all the time. It's kind of hard. Yeah, that was a bit difficult. So I guess I'm very, very hyper romantic still, and I've got kissing. I get highly kissing frustrated. So yes, that's another thing in relationships. See, that's a deal breaker for me. I have to have kissing in a relationship. Sam, yeah, hard. They'll start charging us rent. I have to, yeah, that's a deal breaker for me. I have to have someone in a relationship who loves kissing as much as me, because otherwise it wouldn't work. I'd feel like I was making them uncomfortable, that they didn't really want me in that way. And even though I'm asexual and I don't want to be wanted as in I want you to have sex with me now, I want to be wanted as in I want to snog you senseless now. I still have that like need, urge, and want for a guy to go, oh, I just want to kiss you now. Do you know what I mean? I really want you, but in not a want you as in I want you to have sex with you. I want you badly as in I want to snog you right now. So I've still got that element of what you'd normally have in a sexual relationship, but it's not a sexual element. It's a more maybe arousal kissing element. Which you know, arousal is not the same as sexual attraction. But yes, so that was kind of like difficult because like I was okay. Well, it was better when I stopped going there. We went somewhere else, but yeah, it was kind of hard because I started thinking about him again tonight, thinking, oh god, like out dancing and snogging. It's really difficult for me. So yeah, so it's really important, like, you know, like obviously if a sexual person really needs sex and your sexual person don't want it, that wouldn't work either. That's a deal breaker for you. You know, it's like with my kissing. I think sometimes I might wear a guy out through kissing. But I need a guy who's really into kissing as much as me, really. Maybe he'll wear me out instead. Only for one round. I'll be back for the second round. Oh, you can imagine it, can't you? I can't actually. But yeah, that's quite funny. But you know, obviously, I don't want a guy who just wants to kiss and do nothing else, because that would bore me. Do you know what I mean? He has to be intelligent. I have to be able to get on with him as a best friend and talk to him on the phone and Skype if I'm not with him, and be able to like like write little love messages to each other throughout the day and stuff like that, and have, you know, an actual intelligent connection, and be able to talk about the world, planet, universe, be able to help each other with our careers and support and have intelligent conversation. If I just got a guy who wanted to kiss me the whole time, didn't do any intelligent stuff, I just feel like I was being used literally for kissing, probably. Even though I love kissing that much, I don't want it to be like the be all and end all of the relationship. Do you know what I'm saying? I want it to be like a really excitable, intimate part of the relationship, which is still a big part, but not the be all and end all. Do you know what I mean? So that's very important, because unless you've got bestest ever friendship, it's never going to work. You know, otherwise you don't. You know, you don't want to be used for the physical stuff. Especially like if I got with a sexual person ever again, who could live without sex, and they were just doing kissing stuff, I think they would just want me to arouse them, because a lot of sexual guys, they just get aroused out of kissing. But for them, the arousal is like a sexual thing. Do you know what I mean? It's like they're getting a real sexual thrill out of it, rather than a more, how can I put it, rather than more like teenage excitement, arousal, oh, this is really nice and sweet. It's more like I really want to have sex with you type of feeling, and it's not nice. It's like, I don't want to be used for sex. I don't want to be used for sexual gratification. Do you know what I mean? In that way. So, you know, so that is something that's really important to me. And, you know, lots of asexuals, as we know, have different needs, you know, so it's like, some people who are asexual, they like to do the touching of certain parts of the other person's body, but not receive being touched. And some people the opposite way around. So in terms of give and receive, you could also think of that in terms of the physicality stuff. Like some people like to receive, for example, being touched in or on, or, you know, have certain parts of their body touched. For example, okay, being blunt, like some people like to masturbate their partner, and sometimes the partner likes to receive but not to masturbate them back, and vice versa. This is apparently something that's quite well known in the asexual community. So sometimes people like to be like, oh, I like to masturbate my partner and make them feel really excited and like that, you know, but I don't want them to do that to me. So, for example, I don't want a guy to lick or kiss or suck my chest, my breast, basically, but I want to lick, kiss, and suck a guy's nipples and chest. See, so I want to give that, but I don't want to receive that. And I'm the opposite with the bottom half. So, do you know what I mean? It can be quite interesting navigating that type of thing. Do you know what I mean? And so I'd need a guy that was like the same as me, roughly, on that, or who was willing to do that. You know what I mean? It's no good. You know what I mean? So that can be quite difficult if you're opposite, but you know, sometimes it can work out really well. It's like I said, like, you know, like, I'm extrovert, but I think I'd still be better with either probably an ambivert, or if they were an introvert but didn't mind going out, like to go out, you know, that has some extrovert tendencies, I think that would work quite well. Because although I'm an extrovert, I do spend a heck of a lot of time indoors on my own, working on like my book and stuff, you know, which isn't that normal, I don't think, for an extrovert. I think an extrovert usually is out quite a bit. So I do have some introverted tendencies, and if I was with an introvert who has some extrovert tendencies, that could work quite well, because there could be a good balance there, you know, between like the, you know, like the introvert. I could sometimes spend time indoors watching movies with them, having some popcorn, just like I like to sometimes have a whole movie day. I was just like chill out with 3 movies in a day and have some popcorn, just enjoy the whole day with them. Do you know what I mean? So that would be nice, I think, for an introvert. And then for me, like if they like dancing, for example, but they really didn't want to go out dancing on their own, they really just wanted to dance with me, then they could go out clubbing with me. That would work out quite well, because I'm not really interested in a guy that likes really going out doing like I go out doing that, right? I want someone kind of a bit opposite to me in that respect, that they just, if they go out, they just specifically want to go out dancing with me, really. Then I know they're not really going to go off dancing with tons of other women. So that could work out quite well. Do you know what I mean? And you know, it's like I've got quite a big personality. I do a lot of like, you know, like I've got you know, I'm quite well known in the media and stuff. I'd rather have a guy that wasn't so involved probably in the media like I was, or if he was, probably in a different arena, so probably in a completely different genre, like nothing to do with asexuality or maybe writing books or that type of thing. He was some entrepreneur in a different type of um line of work. Maybe that would work. But I think if you've got two personalities, you've got to be careful. Like if two personalities are in a room and they're both so big, then they can actually overshadow the other one, or kind of fight for attention or fight for limelight, and that's not good. So sometimes in that type of relationship, it's good to have someone who's more wanting to be in the limelight and someone wanting to like kind of be more reserved in the background, supporting that person in that way. They got their own interests and projects, but they're kind of not really interested in the limelight, but they're quite happy to support their partner who is. That would work quite well for me. Do you see what I mean? And so, like they get front row seats, obviously. I'm like, what would they get out of it? Oh yeah, they get free seats. They can come and see their partner and learn loads of stuff from me and lots of other entrepreneurs in the future, probably. So you know what I mean? And like it's nice, if you've both got careers and passions you enjoy, that's adding to the relationship because it both makes you happy. It means you got, like me and Sam were saying, even as friends, if you've got your own projects and your own things you like, then it brings. Oh, we're actually talking about potential boyfriend, weren't we? You were talking about potential boyfriend for you, and me a potential boyfriend. We both prefer to have a guy who was doing their own projects and things, because then you've got stuff to talk about. But it's the same with friendship. If you're doing your own projects and things and hobbies and interests, then you do have things to bring to the table and things to talk about. And I often find, like when you have got a friend that's doing their own thing, it's nice to motivate each other, because you're like, how far have you got with that? I've got this far. And I'm like, because I'm like, Sam's so amazing with what they do. They're so quick. And like with me, I feel like I'm a bit like a snail sometimes. I don't know if that's being a bit hard to myself, but maybe, like I do have a personality that can get very bored very quickly. And so it's kind of hard to manage that sometimes. I've always been like that, It's kind of like I have to be doing something all the time, but at the same time, I've got, like my attention span isn't always great, And so I kind of have to make myself do stuff and force myself to do stuff to stop being procrastinating. But it's like kind of like sometimes I feel like I'm a bit slow, but with me, it's kind of I have to nourish my inner child. Like I've had 3 respiratory infections, I've said before. I don't want to get ill again, so I'm trying to like make sure I'm having some me time. I'm watching a bit of some movies sometimes now, especially as I'm not going out as much anymore. I mean, obviously with the virus, we're told to stay in more, so it means I'm watching more movies at home. But I find that if I watch a movie, I then can get on with more work, and I'm happy to do the work. I'm feeling energetic. I'm feeling vibrant. I'm loving my life in the moment, and I'm feeling healthier. My one of my big concern this year, is I need to make sure I maintain my health. Obviously, it's even more imperative now with the virus around, And one of the ways I need to do that is nourish my inner child and nourish myself by giving myself time. Like I felt so guilty in the past doing that, because I'm like, well, you could be doing this, that, and the other, far more work. But I found that I'm not as productive. I'm more productive if I chilled out, relaxed, not stressing and straining myself, and actually doing that and then taking time. Because I mean, the story I did last night, I told you on this stream, was really hardcore that I'm dealing with compared to the others. Sam, I rarely get bored, but I'm always busy with projects. Oh, I can be big. I'm always got stuff to do, but how can I put it? I procrastinate quite a lot. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't get bored with myself, but I can get bored easily of things. And it's like I love writing, but I have to kind of like I'm better once I get into it. With writing, I can get into it quite quickly usually. But it's like yesterday's story. I know it's hardcore. It's the most hardcore story in the whole of my Asexual Guide to Sex book. And so once you've read it, you kind of need a bit of a break from it. And then, like, I haven't looked at it today because obviously you've been spending time together. And I think, like tonight, I probably just want to chill out for the rest of the night, maybe watch some more movies. I think I'm going to have to go in the city. I might leave it till Monday, I don't know, and just chill out at home tomorrow. But, I just I find it hard to get into something, but once I'm doing it, I'm fine usually. But I mean, so I'm trying to work on a story a day at the moment, which, it's like, well, you could be working on far more, Sandra, but it's like, but I'm reading the same story like 3 times or more, like to make sure that I'm getting it right. Do you know what I mean? I don't, but these stories have been edited already. They're not something that's newly edited, so it's less editing to do. Sam, I've started occasionally watching a film or program sometimes to rest. Yeah. But I like the fact that, you can go at projects for a long, long time. I mean, when I get into my book, if I switch all my social media off and don't speak to the outside world for a bit, I find that it's easy. I can get a lot more done. But it's like I do get distracted easy. But I have got this inner child that's like constantly saying play with me a lot of the time. And I've found the more I actually chill out, relax, and watch some movies, for example, I feel a bit bad doing it in the sense that I'm like, oh, you're wasting time, Sandra. You could be doing this, that, or the other. And I'm thinking, yeah, but you had a respiratory infection last year. You had one again in January. You had one last month that luckily didn't last that long and it wasn't as bad. But these, like, it's kind of like, well, what do I do when I get the respiratory infection that makes me better? And actually, I sit watching movies and just resting and not doing much. And that tends to help me get better quicker. And I'm thinking, well, maybe you just need to do that more often. So you're resting, you're not just going out all the time, because I can become unproductive. I can start going off on tangents and things. But I have got quite a lot to do. But really, I didn't even start back properly working until this Monday. It's just gone. This week. But yeah, so I've been like, like when I was like ill, I just done important to look after yourself. Exactly. I just feel at the moment like when from last year when I wrote those things down on my wall, which you can't really see: healthy, wealthy, happy, and productive. I worked out that unless I'm healthy, I'm not happy, even if I think I am, and then I'm not being productive, and I won't get wealthy. And I'm trying to knock off projects one at a time. I take too much on sometimes. I've got so many things to do that I just get overwhelmed, and then I can't do anything. And then I'm like, what do I do next? So at the moment, like, my Asexual Guide to Sex book is the most important thing to get finished to me, and I'm working through that. And it's kind of hard because my part, I have to think a lot about the past, but I've still got to get other people's stories finished first, and then I'll be able to fully concentrate on my bit. But it's like sometimes when I'm writing stuff out, it's kind of repeating stuff I've already written down, already put in the book. I'm like, so I mean, I've got the two books here, my Asexual Perspectives and my Fibromyalgia Self-Help Handbook, and so I find that, I've got to look after myself. And that's what I would say as well in a relationship. You can't give to another person unless you give to yourself first. So in any relationship, if you're not taking care of yourself and your health, if you're burnt out, stressed, over anxious, over worried about things, and you're not looking after your own health, you're not going to be in a fit state to look after your partner or potential partner. If you can't even look after yourself, some people, they just can't look after themselves and can't look after themselves, and they neglect themselves, they're likely to do that to a partner. So if you ever come across someone in a dating group, asexual dating group, for example, and they're depressed, but they're depressed to a state where they can't look after themselves. They don't wash, they don't shower, they can't get up. They're very negative all the time. They're not really taking care of themselves. They're not eating properly. That is not looking after themselves. So how are they going to be able to look after you in a relationship? They're not, because they're neglecting themselves. So if they neglect themselves, they're going to neglect you in some way in the relationship, usually. It's a sign, so if you see a person that's like really, like not eating, not washing, doesn't usually, like, obviously people can have the down days. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a person who's consistently not looking after themselves. Like, you know what I mean? They're not, like, for example, they're like, maybe they got a beard and it's like all straggling and everything, and their hair's all completely clumpy. They haven't brushed their hair in ages. They haven't washed or showered. This is not looking after themselves. How can they look after you in a relationship if they can't even look after themselves? They can't. Long term, that's not going to be healthy or work for you. So the same goes for health. You've got to make sure you're looking after your health as much as possible. Obviously I've got a health condition. I have fibromyalgia. I can't stop having it, but I do manage it as well as I can, but I have to remember to also have, you know, because I used to, like, loads of people used to say, oh, with fibre you got to rest loads, and that's something I don't usually do. But I do find with my health lately, with the respiratory stuff, I've got to be taking time out to rest more, because when I rest more, I think my body rests and I get, you know, able to get on with stuff more. So I would always say, you know, like, in order to give in a relationship, because this video is about giving and receiving, and what value you're going to add to the relationship. If you cannot give to yourself and spend time on yourself and money on yourself and look after yourself, you haven't got energy and effort to give to anyone else. You're not going to be able to look after someone else, you know, in turn. You know, like, for me, I'm good at looking after someone emotionally, and I think probably mentally as well, more than the kind of like food, drink and all that type of stuff. I prefer a guy to look after himself like that, you know, like cooking and cleaning for himself. So my strength lies in probably mental and emotional more than physical support. But, you know, we, you know, each have our own benefits and strengths, and we each have our own weaknesses. So, you know, make sure you get your own life sorted. I know some people, they're thinking about having a relationship and they can't even look after themselves. There's people I've seen in asexual groups, and they're just like, some of them are usually the type of people that are down about themselves. They're like, oh, no one wants me, no one finds me attractive, no one likes me. But you're basically telling someone that you're rubbish and no one should be with you because you don't look good, you're not got good personality, and, you know, you're telling someone negative stuff about you. So you're, instead of selling yourself, you're opposite. You're kind of push people away doing that. So it's better to work on yourself if you're in that state. You know, if you're feeling down about yourself, if you're feeling unhappy about yourself, if you're not looking after yourself, my voice is going to go in a minute. It's better to sort all that out first, you know, look after yourself first, get yourself into a good state as possible. You know, if you've got mental health problems, you're never going to be in a perfect mental health state all the time, or maybe very rarely, or you'll probably have some ongoing issues, but you've got to be in the best mental state possible. If you're in a mental state that's so fragile that you can't even commit to a relationship or be stable in a relationship or be there for someone in a relationship or grow and develop yourself within the relationship because it's too much for you to handle, don't be in a relationship. You need to work on yourself first. Go away, spend time on yourself, work on yourself before you even think about getting into a relationship, because a relationship is hard work, and if you can't even look after yourself, you're not going to be able to look after someone in a relationship. And if you think it's hard work looking after yourself, it's hard work even being in life, you're going to find a relationship much more difficult, because the relationship will trigger you sometimes. It will make you think of things you've never thought of before. It will maybe sometimes obviously brighten your day, but sometimes you might have stresses and strains in the relationship that, you know, you're going to have to deal with and face, not run away from. And, you know, like, that's why you have to be in the best possible mind and health that you can possibly be, and, you know, develop and grow yourself as much as possible so that you can give to the other person, because you give to yourself first. You know, you can't pour from an empty cup. You know what I mean? There's no juice left in you. So unless you're giving yourself time out and looking after yourself, which I'm going to go in a minute because my voice is going a bit, then you can't give or look after anyone else. Does that make sense? So in order to be a good giver, for that person to receive, you have to give to yourself first. Fill your own cup up. Make sure you've got your own mental health as much as possible in a good place, and that you're able to take care of yourself in order to take care of someone else. Anyway, I hope you found this video useful, helpful, insightful. I've been absolutely so happy to see my best friend Sam today. I have to tell you, seeing friends is absolutely awesome, and seeing my best friend has been amazing. Thank you, Sam, so much for taking part. Lots of love to you as my best friend. I love you as my best friend so much. You're incredible and you're an inspiration. And I thank you for coming all that way down to see me. Same here, awesome day. Oh yeah, it was an awesome day. It really was. It went so quickly though. Like, me and Sam, like, just like this, it's like, what, we're just talking and like it's time just vanished. It was a really, really, really awesome day. I really love spending time with you. It's really nice to chill out. I always chill out with you. I always feel really relaxed around you. It always does. Oh, but yeah, I always feel really relaxed and chilled out with you. It's just a completely different atmosphere than anyone else. It's just really chilled out. I need the time dilation device. You do. You do. Make sure to bring Iron Man back for me at the same time. think he needs a lot more than time dilation, doesn't he? I think he needs a time jump. But yeah, it's been so awesome. I've really loved my day with you, Sam. It's great. I always relax around Sam. It's like so easy to talk to you. Really nice and relaxing. And I think we both did some good talking today. We both got to say things that was going on in our life. So that was really nice. I think we're really equal in that today. It's really good. I liked hearing all your stuff. I was trying to keep up with it all. Same here. Yeah. I've got to remember, was it 719? I think it was 719 you told me, I think. I think it was 790. I'm trying to remember what that's for now. For Space Era, and was it for the 716? I said 719. Oh wow. At least I remembered it was roughly that. You have to add 3 more now. Close enough. You have to add 3 more now. Yes. All right, I try and remember as much information as possible. I'm not always good at remembering things, especially when I had a bit of a distraction in the Nando's. Oh my god. That's why I was quite glad in some ways that we went to the tea place. I'm like, this is too distracting. I've got this guy that wanted to dance with me in the club and he's just going backwards and forwards and I fancy him and want to kiss him. And I was trying to pay attention to you at the same time and listen closely to what you were saying and trying to retain as much information as possible. But yeah, it was incredible. It was a really, really good time. I really enjoyed myself. Yeah, brilliant. I can't wait to do it again. And we'll video chat some more. It'll be good. I'm gonna go and get some rest. I've got to go into sleep, but I think I might go in on Monday. But yeah, so I saw a cute guy on the train home. Actually on the first train, one on the underground. There was a guy. That reminds me, because when you went to get on the train, there was a guy that was holding the train up because he was waving goodbye to someone. So I presumed he got a girlfriend. I presume. And he was stood at the doors, like, and then the guys like, get back. So the guy had to go behind the yellow line, but he was really good looking. He was foreign. He was very good looking. I think you got a partner because I can't see, but the way you're like not leaving the train and you're waving to them, I'm guessing they're a partner unless they're a really good mate of yours because he didn't blow kisses to them. So yeah, I thought, oh man, you're so good looking. And I was really upset for the other person though. There's a person who came down before the train left and they knocked on they went to go to the door and they said to the guard, can I get on please? And the guard wouldn't let them. And the guard could have said, because he hadn't actually blown the whistle yet. The guard could have said, okay, I can let you on, but they didn't. And the person was in tears. They just flopped down on the bench with their hands and they were like crying. You could hear them sobbing. Sam, yeah, that's bad. Yeah, I was really upset for them. I thought it was horrible. I thought you could have let them on. You hadn't blown the whistle yet. You could have said, yeah, okay, the door's just there. Let's open it. But they didn't. And the person was just like this and they're going like crying in their hands. It was horrible. I don't know how someone can treat someone like that. It's like, come on, for goodness sake. They're going to miss all their connections now because you can't be bothered to just open the framing door. No wonder they were upset. They were really upset. I thought, how horrible is that? Come on, just cut them some slack, Something's happened in life, and you're bound to be a little late sometimes. It's not as if the train had already started pulling off. Then obviously they couldn't. But yeah, I'm glad you saw a cute guy on the train home. Oh, actually on the first train and one on the underground. Wow, you're so lucky like that. I do think that's what I do love about London. I think they've got a lot more diverse people. They got a lot of guys I fancy in London. Mind you, I fancy most of the guys in Nando's today. Even some of the people that were just sat down. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's too many foreign guys. Even there's a British guy I thought was quite attractive in there. I'm like, like Nando's just seems to be the place where I fancy all the most guys. And the Mormon guy yesterday, been sport for choice this weekend. Oh my gosh. Yeah, you've been sport for choice. I've been sport for choice. Although there's one guy I really want to snog, which is the guy from the club, as you know. Oh my goodness me, working in Nando's. He did say he worked in Nando's, but I just wanted to kiss him the whole time. It's terrible. I wasn't so bad with him in the club. And then when I saw him today, I'm like, oh, so want to kiss you. I just wanted to cuddle them. Oh, that's really sweet. That's really sweet. I find it quite strange that as a female, I'm more into kissing than cuddling. I find that quite bizarre. I think that's more of a man, more of a guy thing, I think. Do you know what I mean? Really? I think you got some guy traits, Sandra. I just think the kissing, obviously when you're kissing, you've got your arms around each other anyway, quite a bit of the time. So you kind of like locking anyway in an embrace, which kind of could be a cuddle anyway, but I see cuddling as more like full on like this without the kissing bit. But yeah, so I find it quite strange that I'm female and I actually prefer kissing to cuddling. I think that's quite weird, but that's a nice weird quirk about myself. But like, well, obviously when you're kissing, like, well, usually when I'm kissing, I'm on top of the bloke. If it's indoors, if it's outdoors, then we're stood up kissing. So it's a bit different. But then you're usually face to face, baby. Yeah. Oh, that's so sweet. You wanted to cuddle them though. That's really nice. I mean, I do like cuddles. Don't get me wrong. I think kissing and cuddling kind of go together a lot of the time. But it's just obviously if I'm on top of a guy snogging his face off, he's not really cuddling me. Not in the full cuddle sense of the word. Not in the sense I would cuddle my cuddly toy. But yeah, so I just find it a bit bizarre, but then, I'm kind of bizarre anyway, person, aren't I? But oh, that's really sweet. That's very, very, very sweet. Yeah. I always remember I like that guy. I always remember that on one of you weren't there, but it was at the time of the UK Asexuality conference, and I was on the train with Martin, and there was this guy, I think he was 19, and he was the most beautiful guy, and he fancied me. I know he did. He was purposely stood near me, like protecting me. A guy does not do that unless he fancies you. And he specifically went off the train when he didn't have, tube, when he didn't have to, because there was enough space for me to get by. Specifically went off the tube to stand back to let me off the tube. And that was a guy, so thanks for being so gorgeous too. And he's like, oh, that's so, like, his eyes lit up. And I've never seen him again since, and probably never will in my life. But I really liked him. He was so aesthetically beautiful. And I could tell when he was stood there, he's like stood really near me. I felt like he was really protecting me and not wanting any other guys to go near me. It's very bizarre, because my friend Martin was there. I was stood against this metal pole there, and he was literally at the door, like there. And I could tell, I could feel his presence, like I could feel him like protecting me, like, she's kind of like mine in that moment. Do you know what I mean? It's like a really strange feeling. But yeah, he was so gorgeous, so beautiful, so kissable, so lovable, so cute, he was cuddly, he was thin, he's beautiful, so beautiful. It's a good job I don't live in London, really, because I'll probably be going to all the dating things. Mind you, me and you could go together. You could look for a guy and I could look for a guy. As long as we don't end up having to talk to each other in the dating scenario, it's fine, isn't it? Speed dating with everyone else but me and you. This could be quite funny. But yeah, so I think there's quite a lot of dating things that are free more in London, isn't there? Whereas in Exeter, there's a new dating thing, but you've got to pay for it. It's like, I mean, obviously, if I had the money and I was really into seriously looking for a relationship, I might pay for all that type of thing. But when you're an asexual person, do you know what I mean? For a dating service that's predominantly geared towards heterosexuals, it's going to be a bit of a waste of money most of the time, isn't it? Or virtually impossible for them to find you someone. You're probably better off trying to find someone yourself. Do you know what I mean? And have them do it for you because they don't know what they're looking at. That fellow would just be like, how are you getting on with them all? Oh yeah, that's what we could ask. With all of them, how are you getting on with them all? Yeah, that's how he would be. Like, yeah, how are you getting on with them all? You're probably going, well, he's cute. I'll be like, yeah, he's cute. You'll be saying he's mine. I'll be like, no, he's not. He's mine. They got a twin. Mind you, you didn't fancy the guy in Nando's like I fancied. You didn't fancy the other guy. I liked the Bangladesh guy that I don't like anymore. But so there's obviously some difference with the guys you fancy. I clearly fancied the guy in Nando's today. Seriously, I just wanted to snog him. I thought if I see you dancing, I just want to really snog you next time. I think I just need to get some snogging out of the way with him, then it'll be fine. But like, all right, I've snogged you now. But you know, he's clearly a sexual guy that says he doesn't like sex. But I've got enough money to come back to your place. I'll come back to your place now within 5 minutes. Nope, hard. But we both like Aladdin. Oh yeah, we both like the Egyptian guy in Aladdin. Oh, he's so beautiful. Oh, I've asked my mum for Aladdin for my birthday. And I think she might be getting it for me or got it. Well, I think she's probably got it already for me. I hope so. She's not telling me, which is fine because I like surprises. Because I wanted it for Christmas and she couldn't see it in her local Sainsbury's, which is supermarket in the UK if you're watching this abroad. And I wanted it for Christmas and she didn't get me for Christmas. The DVD on the person! If you notice, my voice is picked up now. I'm talking about guys I fancy. It's quite miraculous, like just like a pill, you see, without actually taking a pill. All you need to do is talk to me about foreign guys then and Macassey. I get better all of a sudden. My voice improves. Doesn't start cracking. Oh, I wish it was a person. But no, it's the DVD, I think. I don't think it's Blu-ray. It's likely to be the DVD, but I don't know because she hasn't told me. Maybe it's a person. No, my mum wouldn't be able to swing that, unfortunately. But yeah, she's not telling me. But I said, do they actually have it in your Sainsbury's? She goes, yeah, but I'm not telling you I've got it or not for you. So I think she probably has. Oh, I really want it. It's like, yeah, I can sit there going, ah. It's a really good film though, wasn't it? Very, very action packed. I loved the bit with Will Smith as well. The dancing bit. It's very cleverly done, and even his part in it. Imagine you go to your parents and Aladdin walks into the room. Oh, don't. Oh yeah, but my parents, like, they knew that I like snogging. They probably be like, Sandra, he's only just got here. Give him some breathing space. Yeah, but yeah, it was great for him. But he might be gay. If he's gay, he's not going to fancy me, is he? I mean, obviously in the film he isn't gay, as that I know of, unless there was anything that I missed in the script. Mind you, he likes his monkey. It's monkey a boy. Oh man, I'm off on one now. Yeah, so, but yes. Imagine Aladdin walks into the room. Oh my gosh. I wouldn't know where to look. Well, I would. Straight at him. I'd be like, yeah, just forget my parents are there for a moment. I mean, if I do get with a guy, my parents know he's going to be younger than me. I've already told them he's probably going to be 23 or 24, just like telling them in advance. So, you know, if he is 23 or 24, they're not going to be shocked. They're just going to know, yeah, it's Sandra. And I like snogging as well. My parents don't like public displays of affection. If I kiss my guy in front of them, they'll probably be like, oh no. They should know that by now. That's what I'm like. Do you know what I mean? I don't like pretend to be something I'm not. I like sitting on my guy's lap. Oh, dear me. But yeah, it was a really great film. It was a really, really good film. Really good film. So yeah, it's important to know what you like in a relationship before you get into one. But yeah, and it's important to tell the truth as well. Like Sam said earlier, it's really important to be really honest with yourself and about what type of person you want. But I do think people need to reflect and think what value could they add to a relationship as well. Because I do think some asexuals, they don't think about what type of person they actually want. So you got the case scenario where some asexuals, they don't actually think about what type of person they want. They're like, I have no idea what I want. And that means they've no idea what they actually want in a relationship, as in what they want from a relationship. And they've no idea what at all they want the person to be like. Deal breakers. So that is not good. And then they haven't assessed themselves. So you have to do it as a 2-part series. Like, one is what type of person you want. The second is what type of person you are and value you can bring to the table. You know, what things can a person want to stay in a relationship with you over? What do you provide them? What good do you do them, if you know what I mean? How are you there for them? How are you going to show up for them year after year if it's a committed, serious relationship? How are you going to be the best person for them? How are you going to step up to the plate? How are you going to commit to them? How are you going to work through difficult times together? How are you going to be there through happy times together? How are you going to, Sam, yeah, too many people just think, oh, relationship, yay, without thinking of how it will work for both partners. That is precisely what I was trying to say. I love when you're on this stream because you say exactly what I'm trying to say and put it in succinct words. It's good. So yes, Sam, that's exactly what I was trying to say. Too many people just think, oh, relationship, yeah, without thinking of how it will work for both partners. It's so essential. They don't do that, you know? They often just think, how's it just going to work for me? Or, you know what I mean? They haven't even thought about what they really want in the first place. You know what I mean? If they don't know what they want, how the heck does their partner know? Do you know what I mean? It's like no good getting into a relationship with someone who's unsure about what they want, because it's just going to be a rocky relationship. You're going to feel really, really insecure in the relationship, and it's going to be very bad. Like years ago, when I had insecurities in a relationship, I used to think it was all my fault. I used to think I was an insecure person. That's really bad. I was so bad. And now looking back, I realised I couldn't be secure with those people because they weren't making me feel secure, because they didn't know what the hell they wanted all the time. Some of them were abusive anyway, so they weren't really having my best interest. They didn't really love me for me. It was just like, you know, for what they could get out of me rather than for what they could give, you know? And so, you know, I used to think like it was me insecure, but I learned through watching coaching videos that certain types of people, the abusive type of people, particularly narcissists, they try and make you think that you're in the wrong, something's wrong with you. They do gaslighting stuff and all that type of thing. So they'll make you, you know, think that you've got like things wrong with you, and you know, they'll try and like manipulate your mind and stuff, which isn't very good. And like when you're with that type of person, you can never be secure in the relationship because it's not a secure relationship. Similarly, when you're with a guy who doesn't really know what they want, you can't be secure in the relationship because they're not secure within what they want in themselves. They can't provide you any security. You need a partner that's going to say, yeah, this is a person I want to spend the rest of my life with. If you're looking for a long-term relationship, this is the person I want to commit to. This is the person I want to make it work. I want to give it a go as best as possible. This person's the best possible person for me. I think they will look after me in the ways I need to the most. They're not going to be perfect. They've got their own life. They've got their own problems, stresses and strains, but they're going to give me the best that they can give me the majority of the time as much as possible. And I can rely on them. I can count on them. They're strong. You see, I think a lot of guys I come across quite weak as well, like where women's concerned, you know. I need a guy that's very strong with women, like strong in the sense they're not going to be manipulated by them, or, you know, that type of thing. So, for example, my best female friend now, she's in a relationship with a really good guy in that way, right? So her other best friend, I've said before, is a sexual cougar, right? She likes younger guys. And she you know, every type of guy usually my best friends with, her other best friend will kind of like flirt with usually, right? That's what she's like. But the new guy, the guy that my best friend's been with quite, you know, since last year now, I think they've been together, is it like 8 or 9 months now? They moved in quite quickly. They only knew each other for like 2 or 3 months before they moved in together. But you know, the guy she's with, like, my best friend said this is the difference. So when he was saying goodbye to my best friend before they moved in together, he was I think it was before they moved in together, he was saying goodbye to my best friend, that he will see her later or another time, and he was saying, oh, bye, or bye sweetheart, or something like that, and waved. And my best friend said, oh, thank you so much, you know, which is flirting with my best friend's man. And he's like, I wasn't talking to you, I was talking to my girl, you know, I was talking to my woman. And therefore, you know, he's a good guy, because that's him sticking up to a woman, saying, look, I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to the person I'm in a relationship with, not you. Whereas all the other guys in the past would just lap that type of thing up. They'd be like, oh, yeah, oh, right, okay, you know, or, oh, yeah, sure, and have a laugh back. they'd be like flirting back. But he didn't. And she apparently didn't like it, but in that moment, but she's got used to it now, but she knows, but that's a good guy. He's not being nasty. He's saying, look, this is my girl. This is a woman I'm in a relationship with. I'm not in a relationship with you, so don't even think about saying that, because that's flirting. That's her other best friend flirting with her guy, right? You don't want a guy like that. You don't want to, you want a guy to get on with your friends, but not to the extent where they're happy to flirt back with them. Do you know what I mean? They should be drawing a line under that type of thing, because it's not comfortable. It's not secure. So my best friend's now with a guy who makes her really secure in that way. He doesn't want another woman. Clearly, when he's saying stuff like that, he's not interested in women flirting with him. Because her other best friend, I mean, she's very, very like full on. She wears low cut tops. She's older, but she's, for her age, she's got like a body that loads of guys would fancy, And she's quite loud and bubbly and stuff. So quite a lot of guys would probably like her in that way. But I was so glad her new man's like that, because I know now that she's got a good guy in that way that won't go off with someone else. He's not going to go off with another woman, whereas some of the guys she's had in the past, they would. They'd be flirting with other women, dancing with other women, chatting other women up, That wasn't good for her, Because you can't be secure in a relationship with a guy who has not got security enough within himself to say to a woman, look, I'm not yours, I'm with her, despite them being friends. Do you see what I mean? So she always knows that she can't do that to my best friend's guy. They can be friends together, but she knows where she stands firmly, and that's the type of guy that I need. Someone that'll get on with my friends and that. But obviously, if I've got another female friend, I don't want him oogling over my female friend and starting trying to chat her up and making flirty comments. Do you know what I mean? If he ever met her, because that's not the type of guy I want. That's not a good, strong, powerful guy. It's a guy that's got a wandering eye that'll be like, not be able to make me secure and stuff. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, so you got to look at the type of person that you're going to be in a relationship with. You need a stable person, because, I don't want you to feel like I did for years that, it's all my fault and I'm because a lot of women, in particular, for example, are criticised. Oh, you're just an insecure person, but not just women. Oh, you're just an insecure person. If you've heard that about yourself before, you don't want to be with a person that's talking like that. Because if you're insecure, usually it's because they're actually fueling that insecurity. They're allowing that insecurity to happen. They're not taking care of you in that way. Like I like a guy who's kind and caring, not nasty, but who's very strong with other women. Like if he was in a club, I'd like a guy say so say I was going to the toilet and I came back out the toilet. If I saw my guy that then deciding to go around dancing with other women, that wouldn't be a good guy for me. Why, it'd be better if the guy just sit to the side and stuff, and then I'm with my work. If a woman came up to him saying, oh no, I've got a girlfriend, do you know what I mean? So that's a really good thing. I mean, obviously in a nightclub it's kind of difficult because some guys will do that type of thing, but really that's not the type of guy I want, because it means like you're just interested in other women. But I mean, in the club I go to, like guys do dance with other women in front of their girlfriends. I find that bizarre, but women don't seem to mind it. But I personally think it's a bit weird. I personally think if you're in a relationship with someone and ideally, you want to be dancing with that person, especially if you come with that person. And like if they just gone to the toilet, I mean, big deal. Sure, you can last like 3 minutes without dancing or dance on your own. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it's like, look at the person you're going to be with, and if you're a type of person that's not a strong person, get yourself together first. Get yourself into a strong situation where you can be a strong person for someone else. You need to be strong for the other person. You need to be strong in the relationship. You need to be secure in it. And part of being secure in a relationship is creating security for the other person as well, not just expecting to receive the security for yourself, but to actually create that and give the security to the other person. I'm really happy that my best female friend's got a guy like that. She needs it. She likes strong guys anyway. She's not into feminine guys at all. And she knows that that other women's not gonna, he's not gonna even look at another woman like that. He wouldn't do that. I know just from that attitude that he's not gonna go off with anyone else. Like when I was dating the heterosexual guy for 2 months in 2017, he saw a photograph of my best friend. He's like, "Oh, she's really good looking, or she's really attractive." And it's just like, well, she's my best female friend, and you're just gawking over and like drooling all over. It's not very nice, because I thought, I don't want you to ever meet her, because you're just going to start flirting with her. And he is highly heterosexual. I could tell, it's just horrible. You want someone you're going to be able to show your friends to, and they're not going to go off with them or start really like flirting with them and stuff. Like, I'm not saying they're not going to find them attractive, but you should still be their main focus of attention. You should be the one that they're mostly attracted to, and that it doesn't matter what other person comes along, even if they are somewhat aesthetically attracted to someone else, they're not going to go off with them. Or you're going to be more important, your welfare and well-being and health and happiness. And so your personality is going to shine through, and that's what they're going to be really attracted to. You don't want a person who's just attracted to looks. Like, I get high aesthetic attraction, but I need to be attracted to the person's personality as well, because we all know that looks aren't the be all and all. Like, for example, that Bangladesh guy a while ago, I mean, he didn't have a good personality at all. So however much I liked his looks in the end, it didn't matter, because his personality was rubbish. He's a player. I told him to take a hike. And so, it's a lot to do with personality as well, because looks can change, So unless you've got a really beautiful personality, it's not going to cut it. Do you know what I mean? Cut the mustard, as the saying goes. So I need to make sure that, that if I get into a relationship, I like guys' personality. For me personally, like, if I get to know someone over a long period of time, even if I'm not so keen on their look in the beginning, because they're not my usual aesthetic look, I can grow to love their look and to really, really be into their look, because I've grown to love their personality loads. And I've grown closer and closer. Therefore, the more I look at them, the more I find them aesthetically attractive. That's happened to me quite a bit. It happened to me with the long-term exes with 8.5 years. When I first met him, I was not attracted to him at all. He wasn't my type of look. He used to have long hair. He was skinny, because before that, the previous long-term relationship, I mean, I had some foreign relationships with foreign guys before I was with him. But before that, I'd been with a British guy who was like 15 stone. Do you know what I mean? And so for a long time. So, like, he wasn't the look I used to. He was very thin, scraggly, scrawny, if you like, long hair. And so he was like a different type of person that I'd ever met before. And I wasn't that keen on him, because he wasn't the look I usually find attractive. Obviously, I find thin guys attractive now. And I quite like long hair sometimes, a guy, but I do like short hair better overall. But I'm okay with long hair too. But do you know what I mean? He wasn't, but because I ended up becoming his friend and really at the time liking his personality, before he changed when he got into a relationship with me, became abusive. And we did used to share secrets. And I thought we used to be like best friends, which obviously was a fallacy, just to get into a relationship with me. Then it was like I grew to really like his look and be really attracted to him more than anyone else. I just did. And when we actually had our photographs taken together and stuff, we looked very similar in some ways, because I often think if couples look very like each other in the face, they're a good couple usually in this type of features here. It's really weird. If you can usually look at the person's smile, their nose, or their eyes, they're kind of some, like, there's some symmetry between them when you see them in photographs, or if you see, even if you're with your partner and you look at yourself in the mirror next to them, you can kind of see details about your eyes, maybe your nose and your mouth that's very similar to theirs, and you kind of look like you belong together in that way. I don't know if you've ever had that happen. So, like, when we took the photographs together, I did have long hair, he had long hair, and the smile and the eyes did actually. I don't like thinking about this type of stuff really, because I don't want to think about my ex, but I did actually find the pictures last year that I thought I got rid of with me and them in the studio doing that type of thing. Because we had professionally taken photographs. I look really beautiful, actually. I think I ripped them off of him and kept some of me. But yeah, so but obviously we weren't a good couple in the end, because it was a bad relationship. So it doesn't necessarily mean that, but I just think you have to find someone who's gonna give to you in a relationship enough to make you feel secure and happy, and so you're not going to be worried about oh, is this person going to go off with someone else? And I think it's up to the other person to provide a sense of security to a certain extent about that, you know. Obviously, it doesn't mean to say a person can't have insecurities that they've got to work on, because there may be previous trust issues from relationships, so you might have to trust them. For example, I might have to trust a guy with women more as friends, do you know what I mean? But I'm better now than I used to be because I've got friends of my own, I think. But you know, that might take a bit of trust. But if you've got a guy like this guy who's with my best female friend, he's got a best female friend. Sorry. That he's known for years. So my best friend who got into a relationship with him, he's got a best female friend. She had to get used to that. But she's used to that now. So that was weird for her because she'd never been with a guy who'd had such a close best friend female before. So, you know, she did have to get used to that. But he's made her so secure in the relationship, it's not a problem, you know? That's what you have to do. If you've got close best friends of the opposite gender or whatever that you'd usually be attracted to, you got to make that person feel secure within the relationship, that your friends aren't a threat. They're just friends who you care about. And that, you know, that very, you know, the partner's equally important, you know, the partner's really important to you and they're important to you as well. I don't know if you should use the word equally, but they're more important to you in a romantic sense. Your friends are more, well, your friends are equally important to you, if you know what I mean. You know, so you have to basically make your partner feel secure about your friends. And, you know, like if you're obviously in a long-term committed relationship, then you'd introduce them to your friends and family and stuff, so they'd be all cool with it, you know what I mean? But you should, you know, and you should be willing and able to do that, you know, and you should be able to do that, you know, like I should be able to show a bloke, for example, my friends and family in the end, like without him fancying any of my friends. Because obviously if he's biromantic, he might fancy my female friend or my male friend, or my non-binary friend, do you know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? You've got to be, you know, you've got to make sure you get a person who you can trust around your friends as well. Do you know what I mean? Because my friends are, well, my asexual friends are trustworthy. Obviously, when you've got sexual friends, some sexual friends can be a bit flirtatious, even if it's just who they are. So that's always a bit of a worry sometimes. Luckily, my female best friend, she's got a long-term committed relationship now, so it's not like she's going to go around flirting with other guys. But you know, some sexuals, they can be very flirtatious. So I think as an asexual person, if you've got sexual friends that you're introducing your partner to, if your partner's asexual as well, I think it's better, really, because they're not really going to be kind of like used to someone flirting with them or used to those kind of sexual cues, and they might find it a bit weird, even offensive maybe. But if you're with someone on the more sexual end of the spectrum, asexual spectrum, or someone who's sexual anyway, they're going to kind of probably lap it up a bit more. She's going to be uncomfortable for you. So I just think, you know, like when you are giving a relationship and receiving, you just have to be thinking, you know, what am I giving in terms of security to the person? Am I enabling them to feel secure in the relationship? Am I helping them to feel secure and wanted and needed and loved? Am I helping them to feel they can trust me in the relationship? Am I doing good by them? Do you know what I mean? And I think that's really important. Yeah. And I just think that Sam's totally correct there when they did say to me, people just think, oh, relationship without thinking of how it works for both partners. You should be thinking before you even get into a relationship with someone, literally, you should be thinking like, where, you know, like, are you going to live with them? You know, do you want to live with them? Maybe not now, but maybe in the future, you know, like if you don't live with them, are they going to come and spend some equal time over your house? Or are they going to be over like yours the weekend? You're going to be over theirs like a couple of days in the week. Are you going to have some space in your wardrobe for them? You know, it's like all these type of things. You know, you got to think about all these type of things before they happen. Because when I was with my ex, we lived together for a short time before splitting up for 6 months. I was with him a year and a half, and then split up for 6 months, and then we got back together for another 7, which shouldn't have happened really because he was really abusive. For about 3 weeks when we got back together, he's okay, and then the rest he was worse than before for a year and a half. But, you know, like we used to spend time over each other's place. So I used to have to make sure I had like 2 hair straighteners, one over mine, one over his. like, you know, like underwear over his, underwear over mine, clothes over his, clothes over mine. Like, make sure, like, if he had a hairdryer, so I could use his hairdryer, use mine. Like, toothpaste over his, toothbrush over his, toothbrush over mine. So you have to like duplicate everything. So when you're not living with someone, it can be harder sometimes, because I used to find I was always packing a bag, going backwards and forwards. So I used to go to work, pack a bag, so I'd be able to stay with him a few nights, like 2 or 3 nights. Do you know what I mean? And then he would come over mine at weekends, for example. So this is how it kind of worked, and you had to make sure you got food over there, food over here, and it's kind of hard. A long distance relationship, or a relationship where we weren't long distance, we're in the same city, but where you're not living together, we're opposite ends of the city, which is good for me now, because obviously I'm not with them, they're not a good guy, and I need to stay away from them. But you know, we used to, still live in the same city though. So that's a bit weird, but I try not to think about it. But yeah, so you know, it's like when you're not living with someone, you have to be thinking, okay, so how's the arrangement going to be if you're going to stay over each other's places sometimes? Because you're going to have to duplicate everything, and people don't think about this. They don't think that far in advance. You know, they're just thinking about now. They're not thinking about the future. You know, like you've got to think in a like 5, 10, 15, 20 years time. What's the best person that's going to be for you to be with long term? Is it going to be a short term like thrill of a ride or not? You know, I love kissing a lot, but just having kissing relationships not sustainable for a long time committed relationship. I'm going to need someone who's got a really nice personality, someone I can totally trust, someone who's my best friend, someone I can talk to about the world, planet, and universe, someone when we're totally apart we can still be like sending little love texts to each other, but still be having intellectual conversations, talking about projects and things like that, you know, all this type of thing. Because especially as I don't want to live with a person, not really, then I'm going to have a lot of that type of stuff, and it's only going to be someone I totally 100% trust, that, you know, it doesn't matter who they come into contact with, they're not going to go off with them. We're strong like that, do you know what I mean? So, you know, you've got to think about all these things, but you've got definitely think about how you're going to accommodate them in your life. Jay Salisbury, are you excited for Katy Perry's new album coming this summer? Well, I don't really watch the news or music charts or anything like that, so I didn't even know about Katy Perry's new album coming out for the summer. I don't know if I've got any of her albums before. I can't remember. I can't remember if I've got any. I think I've got some of her music. I don't know. Or do I just listen to her on YouTube sometimes? But yeah, I don't know if I've got any of her albums from a long time ago, but it's not something Katy Perry's not someone I usually listen to unless it's on YouTube. I'm more into foreign music and techno. And Indian music, Spanish music, that type of thing. So yeah, I didn't know it was coming out this summer because I don't watch the news, I don't watch TV, don't listen to the chart music, so I didn't know about that. But thanks for letting me know. It's nice of you. So yeah, I hope I've answered any questions about you may have about like giving and receiving in a relationship and adding value. You just got to ask yourself, you know, what am I giving to the relationship? Not just what am I taking? You know, what can I do for the person, not just what the person can do for me. I think it's really, really important. Anyway, I'm going to love you and leave you for now. Thank you so much for taking part. Thank you so much, Sam. Lots of love. You're my best friend, as you know. Love you to bits, my best friend. There was also my life earlier, and we wish her to get well soon. Or wish them. Sorry, there are them, I think. No, yeah, them. Wish them to get well soon. And Jay Salisbury, thank you for the question. Lots of love to you for joining in at the end there. So I'm going to see you on the next video or live stream. Bye, good night, and thank you for an awesome day too. Oh, I've loved it, Sam, so much. So lovely to see you. And if you haven't already subscribed to this channel, please hit the great big subscribe button below and hit that bell icon to get notified of every time I go live right now, post a new video. I'll see you on the next video live stream. Embrace your quirky and each other's. Bye, bye, Sam. Bye, everyone. Bye.